Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship Predictions. It's the final set of EFL Championship fixtures before the next international break. Before we get into the games guys, let's go through the scores from last week. Sophie did beat me for the midweek predictions 11-8 and you have got a 5-point lead overall.
Okay, yeah, you were starting to close the gap, so obviously I put in a stellar performance midweek and hopefully I can carry that on into the weekend fixtures.
Get over yourself. It's just a game of luck. Guys, before we get into the predictions for this week, do make sure, of course, to show some support on this. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. 750 likes would be absolutely massive. Do make sure, of course, to subscribe if you haven't already. It is free to subscribe and we're starting to get on the road to 50,000 subscribers. It's a long way away, but do make sure you subscribe to get your EFL Championship fix. Let's get into the first game, Sophie, starting with an absolute cracker here. Birmingham City versus West Bromwich Albion. Oof, this one's interesting. Obviously, West Midlands derby. I'm sure there could be a little bit of trouble in this one. Hopefully not. Hopefully the police have a quiet day. But in terms of on the pitch, I think it should be a decent game.
Yeah.
Birmingham City are unbeaten at home this season. West Bromwich Albion are unbeaten in their last 4 away games, including their last away game, which they won 4-0 at Preston, let's not forget. If you look at the form book for the last 5 games, I would make West Brom slight favourites. Yeah. But if you look at their last results, I would go more with Birmingham because Birmingham won 4-1, whereas West Brom just got past Sheffield Wednesday 1-0. Like I say, with Birmingham being at home, I don't think they're going to lose, but West Brom are in some solid form as well, so I might go down the middle here and say a very entertaining 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I'm also going for a draw, but I'm going to say 1-1 just because I'm finding it really hard to separate the two at the moment. Both teams are going into this in good form, so I feel like it could be a good game, and that's why I can't separate them. So 1-1 for me. 1-1.
If you had to lean towards a team?
I feel like West Brom, because I know you said 1-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, but before that it was 4-0 against Preston, and they have been putting in some good performances. But then so have Birmingham, so it is really hard.
Difficult one to call, that one. Next up, get a load of this. Sunderland versus Middlesbrough. What a weekend of championship action we have ahead of us. Obviously, this one is the Tees-Ware derby, or is it the Ware-Tees derby? Either way, it's usually quite an interesting matchup. 2 sets of passionate fans. I would say these are 2 of the best fan bases in the division. And I tell you what, the game's come at a good time as well, because Sunderland have been going well over the last few weeks now. Middlesbrough have just started to turn that corner, haven't they? I think it's 3 wins in a row for them. It started with that win against Southampton and they've not looked back. They're moving up the table and it'd be massive for them to win away at the Stadium of Light just before the international break. Oof, this is really difficult, you know. Oh, I don't want to go for another draw. I'm going to lean towards the home side for this one. Just think Sunderland's form stretches back that little bit further. With the home advantage, maybe they just pinch a very good game here. Sunderland 2, Middlesbrough 1.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to say the same, but I feel like maybe it could be a little bit of a low scoring one, as both teams are coming into this. Confidence should be high, especially for Sunderland, because they've been putting in some really good performances, and that's why it's almost strange for me to go low scoring, but sometimes it does work out that way. I feel harsh not giving Middlesbrough anything here, because last couple of games they have turned it around and I feel like they'll continue to do so under Michael Carrick. But for me, Sunderland are the stronger team here. 1-0.
1-0 Sunderland. Okay, interesting. We're both going for the Black Cats to win that one. Get your predictions in for Sunderland Middlesbrough. Juicy game. Next up, Sophie, we'll go down to South Wales. Cardiff City host Watford. Now, Cardiff City had been on a good little run, but they did lose away at Middlesbrough. No disgrace in that. Middlesbrough have been in decent form themselves. Watford also lost 2-0 in the week when they went up to Sunderland. I think this could be a close one. I make Cardiff slight favourites here because their form's been better, really, and they are at home. But I don't know, Watford, they've got to get something because they could genuinely slide into that bottom 3 soon. I'm going to go for a pretty poor game, actually. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. I never often go for goalless draws, but you've got to chuck one in every now and then. 0-0.
See, I'm going to disagree with you there. I feel like I can't not back Cardiff here. Watford are not in very good form at all, and I actually thought they were sacking the manager the other day with that announcement rather than giving him an extension, but I'm kind of glad they did, because it's not worked out well for them with the whole sacking them after a couple of months.
But hang on a minute, they've done it the wrong way around. They sack their managers when they're doing well.
In good form,
and when they're doing bad, they reward them.
I don't know why, but that's Watford for you. Saying that, I'm going to lean towards Cardiff. 2-0.
2-0 Cardiff. Yeah. Interesting. Right, Sophie, should we go to the best place in the world? Let's go back to the CBS as Coventry City host Norwich City. Now, this one is interesting. Coventry come into it just 2 points behind Norwich, 2 points outside the playoffs. What a week for us, 2 wins in the last 2 games, and it's our final game before the international break. If we could win this, we could maybe be in the playoffs in the international break, if not just outside them. Difficult this, because Coventry haven't lost at home yet this season, and we haven't lost at home in quite a while. Norwich City did lose their last game against Swansea. They won their game before that against Birmingham. They're sort of in and out of form. The thing that's playing on my mind here, I'm very conscious of the fact that Norwich have become a little bit of a bogey team for Coventry. If you just go back to the last 6 or 7 games, there's no wins for Coventry in there. But, good opportunity, I suppose, to get that win against them. But I don't think this is going to sound too negative. I don't think a draw is a terrible result.
It's not, to be honest.
I don't want people to say, oh, that's negative. I obviously want to win.
Yeah.
But if we draw, it's not the end of the world after a couple of wins. And I think that might be the way this game goes. Norwich are a decent team. Coventry have looked better, but maybe we're still not the finished article. We're just about winning games like that 1-0 against Blackburn yesterday. So I'm going to go for a share of the spoils, 1-1.
Yeah, I don't think, with the squad we've got at the moment, our starting 11 is very depleted. We've got a lot of injuries, and we added another one against Blackburn. So I wouldn't be that disappointed with a draw. However, I'm going to back us to win again. I think we've got it. I think Ellis Sims... I'd like to see Ellis Sims and Hadji Wright start together, actually, and see what they could do. I don't see Mark Robins doing that. I'm not taking anything away from Norwich, because I do feel like they're a good team, but they are a little bit hit and miss, and I'm hoping we're playing them on a bad day. So I'm going to back the boys. 2-1.
2-1. Play up Sky Blues. Right, let's move on to Portman Road next, Sophie, as we go to Ipswich Town versus Preston North End. Now, if you rewind a couple of weeks ago, this game was in the diary to be one of the biggest games. Yeah, top 2. It's still 2 of the top 3 locking horns, but Preston are not going to be in the top 3 for much longer if they keep going the way they are. They haven't won in 3, and they've conceded 7 across their last 2 games, so their form has really dropped. Ipswich just keep going, though. I tipped them to draw with Hull City, and then they beat them 3-0, so they've got to come in for so much credit. That was an incredible result. I feel Ipswich win this, and I feel quite confident about that. I'm going to go Ipswich Town 2-0 on this one. I'm
going to go 3-1, so similar deficit, but I do see Preston possibly getting a goal here, because sometimes, as I've said before, I can see Ipswich conceding, but they played very good football. Against Hull, it was a very, very good performance, very convincing, and I feel like they're going to do the same against Preston. So quite a convincing one, but I do see them conceding. 3-1.
3-1 to the Tractor Boys. Right, interesting. Okay, get your predictions in for that one. Let's go up to Ellen Road next, Sophie, as Leeds United take on Bristol City. Leeds United got a 1-0 win against QPR. That's fine, just get the points on the board, and they're now into the playoffs, so despite a slow-ish start, they've recovered before the second international break, so that's good going from Leeds. The only thing is, I feel confident Leeds will get top 6. Still feel it's possible for them to get top 2, but Ipswich and Leicester are not dropping points, so Leeds need to keep to their standards to make sure that they don't go any further ahead of them if they're going to try and close that down. This game against Bristol City might not be easy. Bristol City snatched 3 points in the 95th minute against Rotherham, but I still fancy Leeds United to maybe just get past Bristol City. I think the Robins have been pretty good this season, definitely an improvement on last season, but Leeds for me, I just think at home, with the quality they've got, I'll go Leeds 2, Bristol City 1.
Okay, yeah, I am tempted to lean towards Leeds. However, Bristol City, they've not been in terrible form, and I feel like they can frustrate teams. And I feel like a lot of people will be tipping Leeds to win here, but I actually see a draw playing out. So I'm going to back a 1-1.
1-1 draw. Okay, interesting. Right, let's go to the next game, Sophie. We're going to go to the King Power as Leicester City take on Stoke City. Sorry, Stoke fans, I just feel like I've got to go for Leicester and there's no two ways about it. They just keep doing it, don't they? I predicted Leicester to beat Preston 3-0 and they did. They brought that result in for me. Stoke City, meanwhile, I did tip you to get a draw at home to Southampton and you couldn't quite do that. For Leicester City to get to 10 games of the season and have won 9 of them.
Yeah.
They're just too strong.
Yeah.
Leicester City, 3-0 again.
Yeah. I don't often back Stoke and I can't back you against Leicester. It's purely because of how good Leicester are looking. As you've just said, they've won 9 out of 10. They've got a very, very good squad and they're clearly, right now, too good for the Championship, and that's why I feel like they're going to win the league. 2-0 for me though. I'll give them one less goal than you, but yeah, I still see it being quite convincing, so 2-0.
Interesting. Okay, right, let's go down to the Den next, Sophie, as Millwall take on Hull City. Now, if I was to base my prediction on the results in midweek, I think I'd be leaning towards Millwall. Great win for them away at Plymouth Argyle. Didn't see that one come in, so fair play to them. And Hull City, yes, going away to Ipswich was a difficult game, but losing 3-0, I was a bit surprised by that. I thought Hull City might put up more of a fight. But I'm not going to base it on just the midweek results. I'm going to base it on the season so far. And I think Hull City have been, but they've been better than Millwall so far this season. But with it being at the Den, I think it could be close. I'm going to go for a draw for this one. I think Millwall, they're so inconsistent. If they play like they did against Plymouth and against, who was it they beat before that? Was it Rotherham?
It was one of them.
Yeah, they pick up good results, but they're squeezed in between bad results. So just need that consistency. But I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, I was tempted to say a draw as well. However, I feel like Millwall aren't consistent enough. They do surprise me every now and again, and they could surprise me in this game. I feel like Hull City on their day have more quality, so I'm going to lean towards the Tigers. 2-1.
Oh, you're going 2-1 to the Tigers. They're getting more by the Tigers. Interesting. Right, let's go down to Devon, Sophie. We're going back to home park for Plymouth Argyle versus Swansea City. Plymouth showing that their home park is not quite a fortress. They lost 2-0 at home to Millwall, and it makes me interested in this one because Swansea City have come into this game in good form. So maybe Swansea win at Plymouth, who knows? Plymouth certainly have a good home record, despite that defeat to Millwall. I still think, we could say they've got a very good home record. But Swansea City are in good form and they just took down Norwich 2-1, which we both predicted.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to go for a draw, but you know what? I'm just going to go for the away team. I'm on board with this Swansea City bus. Michael Duff is taking them up the league. 2-1 Swansea.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job at the moment and the fans have got to be buzzing because they're putting in good performances. And I would lean towards them, towards any side in this one, but I'm going to say a draw, which I don't think is a terrible result for either team, to be honest. So, 1-1. 1-1,
yeah, fair enough. Okay, next up, Sophie, we're going down to West London, the King and Prince Foundation Stadium, or Loftus Road. QPR take on Blackburn Rovers, and I feel like this is a good one for us to judge because we've just played both of them.
Yes.
And we've just beaten both of them. I feel more confident for Blackburn in this game. I thought Blackburn played very well against Coventry, very good in the first half, and I think genuinely a draw could have been a fair result for that game.
Yeah.
I thought they played very well. Coventry did end the game well. QPR, when we played them, they started pretty well in the first half, but QPR do have a rotten home record, and no Begovic now. He got sent off.
It's straight red as well.
Yeah. So QPR are without Begovic. Blackburn, going away to a ground that QPR are not in great form at. But Blackburn have lost 4 games in a row. But I suppose something's got to give here. I'll go Blackburn. I'm going to go for the Rovers 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to agree, 2-1. I don't see them keeping another clean sheet. But I can't see QPR winning this one, surely not. So it could be a draw, but I'm going to lean towards Rovers as well. 2-1.
2-1. Okay, Sophie, this might be the biggest game down the bottom this weekend as Sheffield Wednesday take on Huddersfield Town. A Yorkshire derby and a big game down near the bottom. It did appear that Huddersfield Town's form was trending upwards, but a 4-1 defeat to Birmingham, Sophie. But the big talking point is Sheffield Wednesday, and Chanziri continues to show that this place is an absolute madhouse. He's just sacked the manager,
He has.
Xisco Munoz. I don't even know what to say. I mean, Xisco Munoz certainly hasn't been picking up the results, but it's a bit of a difficult job, let's be honest. Sheffield Wednesday seems to be a bit of a sinking ship. Honestly, it does seem like it's very, very, very difficult to see them staying up this season, but I want to see them at least get a win somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
It must be so painful for the fans. 2 points from 10 games. Can they get their first win here? It's a decent opportunity, but I'm going to go no. I also think it's a decent opportunity for Huddersfield to get their first win under Darren Moore. And with a more settled manager, believe it or not, even after 3 games, because Sheffield Wednesday haven't got one, I think Huddersfield Town might just have the edge. I'm going to go Huddersfield 1-0.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to back a draw here. I feel like Sheffield Wednesday, we don't know who the manager is yet and who's going to be leading this game, but I feel like the players could put in a bit of a better performance, to be honest. Huddersfield, they have looked quite good even before Darren Moore came in. Under Neil Warnock, they were getting a couple of good results. Then a couple of draws for Darren Moore, and then obviously not the best result midweek, but they'll obviously be looking to bounce back as well. But I see it being a tight one, so 1-1.
Okay. You're giving Sheffield Wednesday a draw?
Yeah, a point. You can have a point.
Sheffield Wednesday fans think you hate them, Sophie. What's going on?
I don't. You're just not very good.
Okay. Well, she was right at the start of the season to tip them to finish bottom because that's where they are. Final game, let's go to St Mary's. It's Southampton versus Rotherham. I don't know, this feels like a bit of an FA Cup fixture, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like these two should be in the same league. No disrespect to Rotherham, but Rotherham do come into this with just 1 point to show in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
Seriously, not good. As I said before, the only reason they're not bottom is because Sheffield Wednesday won't move. Rotherham did nearly get something against Bristol City in the week. They conceded in the 95th minute to lose that game. They come up against Southampton, who've been a bit in and out of form, but Southampton have won their last 2. And the way this fixture's come along, it's a nice game for Southampton to make it 3 wins in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't go for Rotherham. I did back them to win in midweek when they were at home, and they let me down. They didn't even get a draw. So Southampton, I was tempted to go heavy, but I'll be generous to Rotherham and say that they only lose 2-0.
Yeah, Rotherham let me down midweek as well. I backed to draw and then they threw it away in the 95th minute. So for that, you're going to lose this weekend, and it's going to be a 3-0 loss.
Wow.
Just because Southampton as well, on their day, they're a very good team. It could really go either way because under Russell Martin, sometimes there's a bit of a freak result, but I don't see that being the case against Rotherham. So 3-0 to the Saints.
3-0 to the Saints. Guys, do get your championship predictions down below in the comments. That wraps up our championship predictions. Do make sure, if you've enjoyed this video, to make sure you hit the like button, and do make sure, of course, to subscribe. We'll try and get as much content out to you during the bloody international break, which I hate, and then we'll be back for a good stretch of games through late October and November. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.